to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are streaming on all social media platforms at Keys to the City. So comment, like, subscribe, or share. Or you can follow the Joe McGuire at The Podcaster Joe on Twitter or at Clovercrest Media as well. So the other day we started off our NFL preview. No, we're not going to get into the full preview. That will be next week, either Tuesday or Wednesday, right before the season actually kicks off. We're 8 days away, gentlemen. We're almost, or 6 days, not even 6 days away from the NFL season. College football has already started. The Buckeyes off to a nice offensive start, but big problems with that defense. We'll talk a lot. We're going to get into some college football as the season progresses. A huge college football weekend. No baseball talk this week. Nothing really happened with the Yanks. We'll get into that next week. But this is all football. We started AFC last Tuesday. Now we're going to get into the NFC side of things. And this has been the conference, that has the new champion, the new face, and maybe could we be seeing a repeat champion with the Tampa Bay Bucks? We're going to be going through our 4 big questions, and they got a little tune to them as well. A lot of music, history in the questions, I would say, as we are big Doors fans, me and Ted. So a couple of our questions relate to Jim Morrison and the Doors, as well as the good old Rat Pack. If you remember who I'm talking about, for all those youngsters out there. I think Joe knows. Joe would know, right?
I know the Rat Pack, and I'm a Doors fan. I don't know why you left me out of that.
Know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, baby.
Who I'm talking about. But we have to start off with, if we all remember last year was a crazy year in the football season. COVID, a disastrous year for one division specifically. All the divisions were well, but there was one division that was abominable, atrocious, laughable, until week 17, where us Giant fans, we're going to talk about it because we are from the NFC East. We are all Giant fans. Well, we were only a quarter away from possibly seeing a 6-win team in the NFL playoffs last year. But, as you know, those Philadelphia Eagles decided to take off and decide to make Doug Peterson, congratulations, you played yourself. You are now a jobless man right now because of that decision. But this is what we're talking about. We're going to start off with the NFC East. As I once proclaimed last year, the NFC least. So this is a very simple question because this is probably the toughest division to pick for the bad. I would say the West is for, I'm not going to say good, is for the great because that is a great division. This division has been atrocious recently. So it's very simple, boys. Does anybody really want this division? Because there are so many what ifs, there are so many needs from each of these teams, question marks for each of these teams. You could say some good things, but you can also say some things in the sense of yikes, head-scratching decisions. So I'll start with Ted. Does anybody really want this division? And if so, who would it be in your case?
Does anybody really know
what time it is? Good old Trev. I wish I was trying to relate it to Chicago. Great song. But does anybody really want it?
And there was another song that kind of just jumped in my head, but I can't think of it right now. So I'm not going to waste our time. I don't really have you're asking this question, and I try to be smart, logical. I'm like, I don't really know the true answer to this questions because. They say sometimes you do your best thinking on the toilet. Well, I was thinking about this before, and I'm like, okay, let's just try to be logical and break down the teams. Dallas by far has the best offense in this division. They could have the best offense in football. They have a solid offensive line. They have the best quarterback. They have one of the best running backs, I'll just say, in football. They have a threesome wide receiver core that can match up with anyone in the league. But their defense is a huge question mark. They have players. We know that. I think Micah Parsons might win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he's that talented. Van Der Esch, Jalen Smith. I mean, they have personnel. It's not like they're scrubs. But we know how bad they've been. Then you look at Washington. A lot of people think Washington's going to be like the greatest defense ever. I mean, I think logically, I look at it this way. The Giants beat them twice last year. So whatever that's worth, I have no idea. The Giants, listen, I'm a Giant fan, so I'm going to be logical about this. I don't know what to make of the Giants this year. I really don't. I think we as fans we want the Giants to do well, right? We look at their offense, we're like, all right, we got wide receivers, we got tight ends, we got a running back. We don't know what our offensive line is going to be. Now, preseason is kind of like fake news. You really don't know what's out there and how you're really going to perform because truly none of the starters play. You know what I mean? Like backups are playing against starters are playing against backups. The whole offensive line's not there. The whole team's not there. You don't really know what your team's going to be until week 4. So I don't know. And I think from what we saw last year, and me and Joe and you and we all agreed last year that like the Giants defense was our pride and joy last year. That was our staple. And then when you go to the Eagles, I think everyone's knocking the Eagles. I think because of what we've heard last couple of years with who's running the show, coach, personnel. Their offensive line still be good. They should have a decent receiver core. They have some good tight ends. I think Jalen Hurts has a possibility of being a really good player. I don't know, but he showed flashes of that last year. I don't know what to make of the defense. I don't really have an answer. Anybody really want it? As Giant fans, we know what we want. We want the Giants to win the division. I just don't know if they are good enough. I just think because when you look at every team, there's so many question marks. Like you could say the Giants might be the most balanced team of this division. Then you look at the Cowboys, you're like, well, they're like, if this was a video game, Joe, you and me have joked about this. It'd be like the offense was all the way to like the end. They're like 100, and their defense is like garbage. And then if it was the other way, Washington's like defense is really good, and their offense is kind of average. And then you look at the Giants, they're 50-50. The offense isn't great, but isn't bad. Their defense isn't great, but it's good. And then the Eagles are like questions everywhere.
That's the biggest thing.
I just think, and we've talked about this before, and I'll end it on this so I'm not running on too long, is whatever offensive line and quarterback do the best will win this division. Because we have question marks about Fitzpatrick. Because when he's good, he's good, and when he's bad, he's bad. That's
the most important thing. You keep saying it. There are so many question marks in this division. There's some great in this division with the Cowboys. A legit offense when healthy. A legit offensive line, a legit running game, a legit passing quarterback that can torch the league like he did before he shattered his ankle last year. Then the Giants. There is an expectation now from the Giants with the pieces that they move in the offseason offensively. You get a healthy Saquon, hopefully a healthy Saquon as well, with that defense that was their strong suit last year. Also with Washington, it's the same thing. They added Curtis Samuel. You get another year of Antonio Gibson. You get another year of Terry McLaurin. Now you have a quarterback that, yes, people are in love with and one of the fan favorites in all of football, but it's still it's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He's been on 12 teams.
We've seen the guy at his highest, and we've seen the guy at an all-time low. And then the Eagles right now are an intriguing team in the sense of, are they rebuilding, or are they going to go make a splash in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes too? Because this division, there are so many question marks that's why I put this question. Does anybody really want it? Because, yes, we'd all say it's either going to be Dallas or Washington right now at this point. But as we know in the NFC East, there hasn't been a repeat champion since the Philadelphia Eagles early on in the 2000s. That says something about this division. So it should be a new division winner if that's what history has told us, Joe.
It's funny you bring up the Eagles having won the division, the last repeat division winner, because to me, I almost wanted to say, and I'm glad you started with Ted, because my initial thoughts would have been, pretty much the Eagles won't win the division. And then I thought about it, and well, why not? Mm-hmm. What makes us think that the Giants or Jared Jones's Cowboys or the Washington football team are any better? Because you know what, you guys have addressed this enough, so I'll keep it brief. But there's so many question marks on all of these teams. You could legitimately tell me you think the Giants are going 11-6 this year. I'll buy it. You could tell me they're going 6-11. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
And I think you can make that argument for any team in this division, and there's no reason to sort of, Dallas, yeah, okay. There's no reason to think that. Same thing with Washington. And like you said, Ted, the offense for the Cowboys might be the best in the league. Skins, or Washington football team, rather. Ooh, still doing it. Washington football team, maybe one of the best defenses in the NFC.
And the funny part is
Giants,
the Giants beat them twice last year.
Yeah, right. Giants, though, just a nice balance. Kind of a good defense, kind of an okay offense. We'll kind of see. And then you got the Eagles. We don't know what that offense is going to look like with Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
We assume it's not going to be good because we all don't think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. But as you said, Ted, he might end up being a pretty good football player. And if that be the case, yikes.
And that's also
could be more trouble.
That's also the thing, Joe, is that you look at the Giants, all good pieces. Well, the offensive line, Dallas. Is Dak coming back to being where Dak was last year? Washington. Can Ryan Fitzpatrick sustain that where they think he could be, which is lead them to a playoff victory, which is maybe even compete for a Super Bowl because they have the defense to do it. And then Philadelphia is Jalen Hurts their guy. So there's a copious amount of question marks. It's not just one question mark. There is a bunch of question marks for each team. And it's literally that they all have to go right for one of these teams to perform well, because as we know, last year was putrid. This division was laughed at. And they kept saying, does any of these teams deserve to make the playoffs? And for most of the season, we all thought no, because of what it was a god-awful division for good reason. This is the same feeling that I have going into this year, that all four teams have a legitimate shot, and I'll say even Philly. I know people think Philly is going to be god-awful this year and one of the lower teams, just like the Giants. This division's up for the taking because of the amount of question marks for each team. I don't know who's going to win it. We'll have our predictions next week on this division, but as of today, I would only say, realistically, and I hate to say it, I would say Dallas, just because with the healthy Dak, with having the best quarterback in the division and everybody coming back, how can you not? The talent prevails sometimes in the NFL, and they have the most talent right now in the division.
Quick question is, since we're all Giants fans here, let's keep this brief so we can move on to the rest of the divisions. The Giants have made a series of moves the last couple of days to make that offensive line better. Yeah. I've had some people like, hey, dude, look, they're making some moves. Do you like that they're making moves, or do you see it the way I see it? This is a complete desperation. Oh, crap. This offensive line's terrible. We need to get some dude. We need bodies in here. Ted?
Go ahead.
Both to your 2 points. One, because we realize this offensive line sucks. And two, we're making moves to better offensive line because they suck. And if we want to compete with the other three teams in our division, because you have to win your division first before you can win anything else. Listen, it was awful. And they're making moves. There's still question marks on if those guys can, you got it. The thing about an offensive line is it's unity and working together. The best offensive lines, usually these guys have 50 to 60 starts together. They're playing, we don't know how they're going to gel. So, I mean, listen, as we said last year, if we don't fall 0-6 in the first 6 games, we'll have a chance, because we know, like the end of last year, we were a much better team later in the season than we were in the beginning of the season. And the funny thing is, Cam Newton was flown in by the Giants yesterday too.
100% agreed, Ted. I would say both too. It's a desperation move because they want to see if Daniel Jones is legit too as well. We got to all take that in consideration too, that we got to figure out if Daniel Jones is the future of the New York Giants. And it's their offensive line too. Their offensive line is god awful right now too. Didn't look impressive in preseason, and I don't know what to expect too. So I would say it's a combination of both.
By the way, I think Cam Newton as a backup to Daniel Jones actually makes a lot more sense than it did for him to back up Mac Jones in New England.
Say goodbye to Mike.
And Joe, I'll say one other thing. I'm surprised Ron Rivera of the Washington football team didn't bring in Cam Newton.
Yeah, shocked. I mean, I would have at least thought a call. Dallas, the fans started a bring Cam in campaign.
Joe, if Cam Newton comes into the Giants, say goodbye to Mike Glennon. That's for certain.
Yeah, listen, and I'd be fine with that. Listen, it's funny. I was reading literally part of the Patriots' line of reasoning was getting rid of Cam was we're going to game. We have our offense is going to be built around Mac Jones and Stedham and the other cat sitting back there.
Brian Hoyer.
And Hoyer are much more the same kind of quarterback. And so it doesn't make sense if Mac would miss a game that they would go to Cam. He's a different kind of quarterback. They have to change all the schemes. So, again, I think if you're the Giants, I think having Cam Newton on your sideline and even to maybe gets into some games wouldn't be so bad. Similar quarterback.
Well, it's a good thing that talking about quarterbacks on the sideline, it's a good thing that Aaron Rodgers is staying in Lambeau and playing with the Green Bay Packers for one more year. I say one more year because, well, as we quote the great, one of our favorite songs by The Doors, this is the end. Is this the end of Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers come next season? Are we talking about a new look Green Bay Packer team and a new look Aaron Rodgers in a different uniform? Is this what it comes down to? They're the odds-on favorite. They're one of the favorites to be in the NFC title game and in the Super Bowl coming into this season. So, and we all saw his little post alongside Devontae Adams with their last dance picture. So, is this the end? And I'll start with Joe on this one. Is this the end of Aaron Rodgers and the relationship with the Green Bay Packers?
If he wins the Super Bowl, absolutely got to come back, and they've got to do everything they can, and they'll have to restructure everything, and it'll probably set the franchise back a decade. So it'll probably be best for them if they have, they win the division and they get bumped before the championship game. And then they can move on to him, go with Jordan Love, and everyone will be happy because they'll have expected it. That's my best case scenario. I mean, I said all along, dude, look, this guy's like at the twilight of his career. This is Roger Clemens in 96, if you know what I mean. This is a tough spot for Green Bay because I think conventional wisdom, most people are saying that they don't like Jordan Love. This guy's definitely was a stretch pick by them to start with, and he's done nothing to make anyone think any different. And the Packers have allowed Aaron Rodgers all the leverage in this situation to an embarrassing level. I mean, the guys that run Green Bay, I know it's the fans that own the team, but my goodness, incompetent owners, incompetent management, and this is the situation you're in. And by the way, this is the second straight Hall of Fame quarterback where you've absolutely botched the daylights out of the end of his career. This is stunning. That Green Bay would find they just screwed one guy over with this guy, and this guy's getting screwed over by it is unbelievable.
I think it's this whole division, Joe.
Unbelievable.
The ownership in this division is, look at the
Wow.
Lions. The Lions have been atrocious since I've been watching football. The Vikings don't know what to do with themselves. The Bears can't find a quarterback until maybe now, and now the Packers, they don't know how to handle their stars. It's like this whole division. It's literally points to what this division has become. Ted, is this the end of the tenure of AR-12 in Green Bay?
I shouldn't say it AR-12. It just doesn't sound right anymore.
What do you mean?
It just sounds the way our society is. Just saying that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. PC. We're a PC now. We're a PC show. I forgot.
We're in 2021, Trev. This is not 2001 no more.
I'm sorry, Amir, for the people that are watching. I'm sorry if I offended you with that latest.
So I told you the other day, I said, let's do The Last Dance. That's the pitch. You go, no, let's change it to a music thing. And you were like, how about the end? I go, perfect. This is the end. This is the end. This will be the last year Aaron Rodgers plays for the Green Bay Packers. Win, lose, draw, he will be out after next year. He'll walk away after winning a Super Bowl. He will walk away retirement if he don't win a Super Bowl, or he'll find another team.
Do you think it's more likely he retires, or he finds? Or obviously, some team is going to try to trade for him. Is it possible?
Someone's going to trade for him, because you know what I've noticed? Being a sports fan, no one ever stays with their team entirely. Listen, and I know you're going to say Kobe Bryant. I know you're going to say Derek Jeter. I know you're going to tell me Tim Duncan. Eli, I know, but now what I've seen now, what I've seen in the last, so he's been out for a while now, 8 years. I would have never thought I would see Peyton Manning play for another team. I definitely didn't think Tom Brady would ever play for another team. Because the way I looked at Tom Brady was, there's no way Derek Jeter will ever play for another team. And he didn't. But did you ever, you both do, did you ever think Tom Brady was going to play for another team?
No. And I said that he had to win the Super Bowl and then retire to make that all worthwhile. And this idiot's going to do it again. He's going to go win another one and show me up, win back-to-back, and then retire. I love it.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. They drafted Jordan Love. This is more than just the Packers. They're the best team in the division. We know that's. I think the Vikings will be much more improved from last year. I truly believe that. I think their offensive line will be better. The defense will be better. Last year they were ravaged with some injuries. Hopefully Kirk Cousins can lock himself in a box during the week so he can play on Sundays because he doesn't, like he said, he wants to get plexiglass wherever he goes. But the Bears the Bears might be. Listen, the Bears got a good defense. We'll see what happens with Justin Fields and Andy Dalton. Maybe they'll be the Dolphins of last year where they'll win 10 games, but they won't make the playoffs, but they'll show improvement. We know what the Lions are. The Lions are trying to build they're trying to build something. They're trying to build a foundation. They're not a playoff team. They're trying to build an identity. Dan Campbell's trying to be a feisty bear, eat, biting people's legs off, do whatever. Listen, whatever it takes for them to win games, I don't think any Detroit Lion fan will question it. As long as they play better and show improvement, I think that's something that we saw last year with the New York Giants. We knew we probably were not a Super Bowl. We knew we weren't a Super Bowl team. We knew we probably were not a playoff team, but we wanted to show improvement. We saw improvement. We played better. And I think if you're a Lions fan, that's what you're looking for this year. You can win 6 games and still show improvement. The Giants won 6 games last year, and we thought they were a better team. So, but this is about the Packers. This is all about the Packers. This is about winning a Super Bowl. That's why Aaron Rodgers is there. That's why you have Devontae Adams. I still question if this team is good enough to win a Super Bowl. But listen, crazy things have happened.
Better than they were January. We talked about this in the AFC specifically, and we all agreed that all the teams are better than they were at the beginning, from where they were at the end of the season to where they are now. Do we feel the Packers are better from where they were January 26th? Hold on, January 26th to now, because they lost a lot in the offensive line with Lindsley. Bakhtiari's not going to be playing for quite some time. He's still he's coming off of that ACL injury. So is this a better team right now than they were at the end of the season?
Well, first of all, when you talk about 2 of the best position players on the offensive line, you have one of the best centers and you have the best left tackle in football. Of course you're not better. Now, listen, they still have an elite corner in Zaire Alexander. They still have a really good defense. It's not great, but it's good. They have pass rushers. They have the 2 Smith brothers, even though they're not Smith brothers. They have Trev, help me out, Rashawn Gary from Michigan. So they got 3 guys that can rush the passer, bring thing. They have an elite corner. They have a good defense. Adrian Amos is a good safety. They still have the best receiver in football. They still have a top 5 running back in Aaron Jones, and you still have the MVP. I mean, listen, that's what it really comes down to. Think about this. If Aaron Rodgers was on the New York Giants, we'd be talking about a Super Bowl team. That's what Aaron Rodgers is. That's what Tom Brady is. That's what the elite quarterbacks are. You put them on any team. I mean, maybe Aaron Rodgers on Detroit, you would say.
Gotta have an offensive line.
You would still take the Giants as a Super Bowl contender with Aaron Rodgers on the Giants.
I would put them, yeah, of course.
You would put them in the top 4, probably behind Tampa Bay and the Rams.
No, I put them over the Rams. I already told you that. I put them over the Rams.
I wouldn't, but that's you and me. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
So at the end of the day, the Packers will win this division. They will not be the 1 seed. They will struggle a little bit more because of the injuries. But I also think Aaron Rodgers still has something to prove. Okay. Because you sent me something on Instagram. I think he has a chip on his shoulder. And he knows that, like, hey, listen, at the end of the day, these guys are still human. He doesn't want to go out playing like crap, and he doesn't want to go out with a bad taste in his mouth in Green Bay. So, I mean, the only way to do that is to win the Super Bowl. And injuries play a big factor in that because we saw that last year. I don't care how good Patrick Mahomes is.
How about that? I want to tell you this. This is – talk about chip on the shoulder quick, and then we'll get into the NFC South. This is Brady's playoff record since turning 37. He's 16-3. Rodgers' entire career, 11-9.
Yeah.
Talk about a chip on the shoulder for a guy that's one of.
But you know you can't compare anyone because it's his own category.
Hold on. For most experts have proclaimed a top 10 quarterback all time.
Top 5.
You just go chip on your shoulder. I won't go top 5 yet. As chip
on
the shoulder.
Saying people look at him that way.
Oh yeah, of course. Talent-wise, yes. But talk about chip on the shoulder, 11-9. You're one of those guys.
Yeah.
One Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was in high school when he did. Win his first and only Super Bowl.
First of all, if I'm Packers GM Brian Gutekunst, here's what I'm doing. I'm calling James Jones. I'm calling Randall Cobb. I'm calling Greg Jennings. I'm calling Jordy Nelson. I'm getting the whole band back together. Dude, you got to do whatever this guy wants to stay there because you know full well Jordan Love is not the answer. And I'm telling you right now, I mean, I think Green Bay is going to have a really good season. I mean, they're probably going to win that division. If not, they'll fall a game behind Tampa and win the wild card. They're going to be fine either way.
12-5
Right.
is a realistic number.
Very much so.
Like
But here's the thing, dude. You got to go all. If this is it for Rodgers, you got to go all in here. This might be your last legit chance to win for 5 years.
But the Packers are not that organization. We know that.
Well, you're right, Joe. Because the clock is ticking for Aaron Rodgers and his tenure as a Green Bay Packer. You just said, Joe, about the all-in approach. Well, let's get over to the NFC South because, well, this team went all in last year, and they definitely went all in this offseason by signing all 22 players to their Super Bowl already high-caliber team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And last year they went all in, and they signed a guy named Tom Brady. Well, I think that was a pretty good decision by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Talent is there, but they ended up winning a Super Bowl because they had the right quarterback. So the why I put this as our headline, good luck Rat Pack. For anybody that doesn't know who the Rat Pack is, it's Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, and Sammy Davis Jr. for all you youngsters that are watching right now. Anyways,
who's Frank Sinatra?
Who's Frank Sinatra? I don't know.
Right.
I bet Yankee fans don't even know who Frank Sinatra is.
Imagine.
No.
I don't know, man. You'd be surprised these youngsters don't know what that music is. Anyways, the reason why
spreading the news.
Yeah, breaking news. Yankee fans don't know who Frank Sinatra is. He's the one that sees Sweet Caroline, right? So the reason why I said good luck Rat Pack, because this to me is one of the easier divisions to pick from. And the Rat Pack in this case are the Saints, the Panthers, and the Falcons. Then you got the Buccaneers, who are in a class of their own alongside with the Kansas City Chiefs. These three teams, good luck. The Saints, yeah, you've been one of the most consistent teams since the era of Sean Payton and Drew Brees. Well, FYI, Drew Brees is gone. So you have a new era beginning, and that is with, as Jason's boy says, famous Jameis. Jameis Winston's going to be the guy. The Panthers are in kind of a tricky situation. Do they know if Sam Darnold is the guy? And then the Falcons are in the same situation as like the Giants once were and where the Steelers are now with an older quarterback, big contract, and going all out with him and seeing if they can try to get another title run in it. But that's why I say good luck to the Rat Pack, because those three teams, they're just fighting for who's going to be second and third, and sadly someone's going to be coming in last place because this division belongs to the champ, just like the NFC belongs to the champs. And that's what it's going to be coming down to. So good luck to the Rat Pack. Guys, do you have anything that you want to add on to this division?
I think Sam Darnold is going to surprise people. And I think if McCaffrey stays healthy, I think the Panthers could very well become the second best team in this division this year. But short of that, I don't see anything different from last year.
I'm just laughing because it's just amazing to think Tampa is so good now. And like 2 years ago, like the last 5 years before this, they were bottom dwellers. You know what I mean? Like Carolina with Cam, they were like top 1 or 2 seeds. But it was always like Saints, Carolina, and Atlanta just keep rotating as the best team. Like in the NFL, in the whole NFC. Like Carolina Panthers were 15-1, and like and Atlanta was the number 1 seed, and like the Saints were the number 1 seed, and then they just rotated, and Tampa just kept winning like 5 or 6 games, and now like they have all 22 starters back, probably plus the kicker, like the coach, like you know, like everyone's back. Like they're the only team that like when they drafted, they're like, we don't really need anyone. We're just gonna like pick and choose like little pieces to add to our team. The biggest thing that could affect the Tampa Bay, like we've talked about, and it's the biggest thing in the NFL is health. They were the healthiest team last year down the stretch. No one of main players were hurt. No one. I mean, all 5 offensive linemen were there. Quarterbacks, running backs, receive, like they had no injuries. And that's the only stumbling block that is if something happens to Tom Brady or that would be the only stumbling block for them. And Tom Brady never really gets hurt.
It's a catastrophic injury.
Other than that, I mean, like you said, Trev, it's 2, 3, and 4. I think Joe's right. Carolina could be a sleeper team. They got offensive talent. McCaffrey comes back. Robbie Anderson. They still have DJ Moore. They made some adjustments on the offensive line. Their defense is young, but they played much better last year. Atlanta, listen, they got Kyle Pitts. He could be a stud. Calvin Ridley. It's going to be a good fantasy team, but their defense still has question marks. Brand new coach Arthur Smith. He's got to find his feet and get them wet. And then, the Saints, listen, I think the Saints will probably finish second. I think Jameis will play pretty well. But you're looking at a team that'll probably go 9-8. You know what I mean? They'll be good. They still got Kamara. Their best receiver doesn't want to be on their team anymore. They still have a solid offensive line. They still have a really good defense. Let's not put them down like they're scrubs. They'll compete for a wild card, probably get one of the late wild cards because that's what the Saints do. They're a well-coached team. But with that being said, Tampa Bay, I mean, it's just unbelievable how well they are put together.
Well,
and
we always knew they had the talent. We always knew they had the talent.
And I'll just put this. Brady might be the most influential player in the NFL because I just look at Mike Evans just took $9.8 million of his salary cap and turned it into a signing bonus so that the Buccaneers would have another $9 million toward their cap so they can sign practice squad players and free agents. So I look at that and that's a Brady move, thinking bigger picture, what's best for the team now and later.
Well, that was the easier division. Didn't really get a lot into it because, well, we all know.
We'll talk about it next week. We'll go real deep.
We'll make our predictions with that, but the Buccaneers are the best team in that division by far.
Speaking
of divisions, we talked about it on Tuesday. The AFC North has been probably the most consistent division since I've been watching football.
Wait, who?
But the AFC North has probably been the best division, or I would say the most consistent division since I've been watching football. But there's a new division that has really gained ground, and maybe to some, the best division in all of football. Definitely would be the most entertaining division because you have 4 legit teams that can compete and win a division title. And it's very simple. Another Doors quote, the best is the West. Is this the best division of football? And if so, who's a team that's going to come out of this bloodbath type division? Because these all teams don't like each other, and it's going to be a hell of a 17-game ride for all 4 of these teams.
Yeah, listen, I'll put it this way. I'll make it real quick. All 4 of these teams have the possibility of winning the Super Bowl, and you can't say that about any other division. Now, Cardinals will probably be the worst team in the division, and that's kind of crazy to talk about because they got talent everywhere. They got legit players all over the field. I think their biggest question mark is their coach still. Is Cliff Kingsbury a good enough coach? Because I look at the other 3 guys and I put them in high regard. I'm sorry, but I like Pete Carroll. I think he's a really good coach. Anyone who wants to talk, crap about him, whatever, that's your problem. You don't like him, whatever. But he wins games and he's been productive in the NFL ever since he left USC. I mean, I know he crapped the bed in New England, but he did really well for USC, brought him to promise, one of the best teams ever, and then came to Seattle, and all he's done is win games. And I know Russell Wilson's part of that. Russell Wilson's one of the best quarterbacks. Then you look at the Rams. I look at them as the second best team. I think they're the team that could give the Bucs the most fits down the road. And then your 49ers. Listen, we know what the 49ers are. They were a quarter and a half away from winning the Super Bowl. They have a veteran quarterback that's been to a Super Bowl. They have a young stud sitting in the wings. They have a solid offensive line. They have 5 guys that can run the football. Their biggest thing is they don't have a big-time threat on the outside. Hey, maybe the 49ers will trade for Michael Thomas. That would be a guy that they could use, give them some picks or some other. But their defensive line is beast. They could have the best pass rush in football. Linebackers, Fred Warner. We know what he is. Trev thinks he's the best player ever. And their secondary is much more improved. No, but listen, this division's great. I don't know who's going to win it. Health will play a big factor. I think the Rams are the front runners to win this division, but you could look at Seattle and 49ers and Cardinals and say you could flip them and go 1 through 4 and say either of these teams. I think health will be the biggest factor in this division. Health. One big-time player.
What do you think, Joe?
I don't think the Cardinals are going to finish 4th in this division this year. I really don't. I think this year, I think they're due for a step up. And I don't know if I'm saying this because Kyler Murray's my starting quarterback on the CMG Fantasy Football League, and maybe I'm just really feeling the guy now. But like you said, Teddy, look, they're loaded with weapons. These are 4 legit teams. The team I'm most concerned about on the offensive end is the Rams. The Cam Akers injury, I think, is a big deal. I've told you guys I've never been crazy about Matt Stafford. I know you guys think I'm an idiot. And that's fine. Maybe you'll be right. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm an idiot. Go ahead, call me an idiot then.
No. He's not. You're not an idiot. Hold on.
I'm not going to say it.
Sean McVay with Jared Goff had a top 5 offense every year that he was the quarterback. And Matthew Stafford is a definite upgrade. I just heard
Matthew Stafford has spent such a long time living in Loserville. It concerns me that when push comes to shove and this guy's got to be in a big game, does he even remember what that's like?
Can I tell you something? You know what this reference is? I love the reference, and I'm going to steal it. I don't care. From Ryan Russillo, I just heard. You know what Matthew Stafford, and listen, not the same caliber because one's a Hall of Famer. But remember when Kevin Garnett was on the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he was like one of the best players in the league? And every year in the first round, the Timberwolves would get knocked out, and you're like, this guy can't win. He's not that good. He just can't find a way to get over the hump. Then he went to Boston and won a championship, and you're like, and you watched him every night in basketball, and you're like, wow, he really is that good. We just didn't recognize because he played on a shit team. Well, I think Matthew Stafford, it doesn't matter who's going to be in the backfield because they're still going to do well. I like the trade for Sony Michel, Darrell Henderson. They got studs on the outside. Deshaun Jackson, Kupp, Robert Woods, Van Jefferson, they drafted out of Florida last year. I like the tight end, Gerald Everett.
No, Gerald Everett's on Seattle now.
Oh, Seattle, I apologize. It's
Higbee.
But I love Mr. McVay. They got the best defensive player in the league in Aaron Donald. They have the best cornerback in Jalen Ramsey.
No, Fred.
I'm just funny. I guess Teddy, you know what I'm most concerned about? Look, I'm not worried about the defense of the Rams. And again, they've got all the talent in the world. There's just, I don't know, man. You're putting a guy. You want to prove it. You want to see it done first. And again, guys, like I said, I'm probably wrong here. Stafford probably throws for 4,800 yards and 35 touchdowns. But if he struggles,
I hear you.
If he struggles to score, and here's the thing, if he struggles to score, some of that's going to be negated by how good that defense is.
Well, you know,
so they might get off to an 8-2 start, and you know what? Maybe a lot of those are close games that maybe later in the season or in the postseason they don't end up winning.
Joe's going to take Stafford to win MVP now.
Oh boy, Joe. You know, you've been hearing me all off season. I think the 49ers are really going to have a huge bounce back season. I think last year was a fluke because of all the injuries. They're going to have everybody back and healthy. And I still think that Trey Lance, once he becomes a full-time starter, is going to be the major X factor of this entire division because of his ability to run and his arm. And in that offense with Kyle Shanahan, I think he's going to flourish with Kyle Shanahan. I really do think the 49ers are.
Imagine those four quarterbacks, Trev. Kyler Murray, Trey Lance, Russell Wilson, and Matthew Stafford. Pick your worst one.
Do you guys think all four of those teams will finish above 500?
Yes.
Or better.
Yes.
But the only problem I could see with that division is you beat up on each other. Kind of like what the AL East was in baseball a couple of years ago with the Yankees, Rays, and Red Sox. They were the 3 best teams in the whole AL. And 2 of them had to settle for wild card.
I still think the 49ers are a dark horse team to compete against the Buccaneers for an NFC title. I think they're that talented enough because the last time we saw them at full health, they were in the Super Bowl and they were 7 minutes away from winning a Super Bowl championship. So with the right quarterback now, with Trey Lance coming in, I think he's the X factor of this entire division. I really do, and I think the 49ers, because I know my pops is a big 49er fan as well. So I'm going to go. I like the 49ers this year. I really
Are
do.
the Seahawks the most likely team in this division to have a serious step back?
Yes, I would say so.
I know Teddy hates their defense, but his face is saying different.
Before we get into the food, our top 5 Chinese dishes as well, quickly. It all comes down if they let Russell Wilson do his thing and let Russ cook, then they have a shot because we saw what he can do last year. If they abandon the passing game, they got good weapons offensively. Let the man do his thing. Stop going back to more running game. Let him do his thing. He's a top 5 quarterback in this league. Unless then, if that doesn't happen, I expect Seattle to take a step back in this division. Because they were 12-4 last year, too, by the way. So I don't expect them to win 12 games. So I could still see them at the 9-10 range. But I think all these teams will finish over 500.
Don't agree.
Well, that's fine. We'll talk about it next week when we have our full-on NFL
preview. I'll just put it this way. I'll make this real quick. When they let Russ cook when they let Russ cook at the end of the season, that's when he failed. When Russ is the best is when they were running the football. Sorry, Trev. But when they were the best and he was dominant, because look at his stats the last 6 to 8 games of the season. Wasn't even a top 5 or 10 quarterback, had tapered off big time because they got away from the running game and their offensive line wasn't built just to protect. They're the best when they can run downhill with Chris Carson and Rashad Penny, play action, and then let Russ cook and hit the bombs.
You got to have those guys stay healthy too.
Because here's the thing: you got DK Metcalf, you got Tyler Lockett, you got 2 good running backs. So, and listen, you still have Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams,
2 best defensive players in the world, right, Joe?
and you have a good coach.
You know it.
And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, which is a big factor we're not playing into this year, is the crowds are back. You're going to have Seattle's 12th man back, and that's a home field advantage.
Oh, yes, sir. You're right about
I'm
that.
looking forward to opening night when the Rams take on the Bears in SoFi Stadium with a full stadium too, which is going to be awesome.
And I'm looking forward to seeing the Raiders stadium, even though they're going to stink. We'll see them with the full-on black hole.
Anyways, let's get over to our continuation of the food portion of our show. As we've been talking, last week was Italian dishes. Next week we got to start coming up with some different ones too. So you guys are going to be in charge of this, Ted specifically, because this is your part of the show, sponsored by Ted's Eats.
Yeah.
It's this week. It's our top 5 Chinese dishes, and it's funny that
Trev, you're going first. Trev, you're going first on this.
So I'm going first. Why? The guy it's sponsored by should go first.
It doesn't matter. You're going first because you're a lover of Chinese.
I love Chinese food. It's Friday night. I might want to get Chinese food tonight. I love Chinese food. So here's my top 5 list, sponsored by Ted's Eats. It's funny you said that because we all have the same top.
If we get Chinese food tonight, we're all getting chicken and broccoli, it looks like. Number one, across the board.
We all actually are all one. It's number 1. I was a big fan of General Tao chicken, but my thing was chicken and broccoli is the healthier version, and I've just come to get that more lately. So that's been the late Chinese that I've been getting.
Dude, that's hilarious. Same here. I was doing sows for a long time, the General Sows, and then I was like, you know what? I gotta lay off that the breaded chicken or whatever it is. Yeah. And I've been doing more chicken and broccoli lately. Yeah,
it's the same. I love the egg rolls. Depends on where you get them, but the egg rolls, egg rolls it's a must. It's a must. And my mom actually got me on to number 5. Never was a big fan of them until she said, try it. I tried it. I fell in love with them. Crab Rangoon is actually excellent. It's excellent. So you give me a grade. Come on. Give me a grade. Come on, boys, anything.
I got no complaints. I just don't like Crab Rangoons. I only had a bite, don't like them. Other than that, I have no complaints.
Dude. You and I are very much our lists are very similar.
Trev, just go to Joe's because I want to compare this. Then I'll have a good opinion.
Very similar list. Look at this thing. I just threw the dumplings in there. You left out the dumplings. That's fine.
I'm not a big dumpling fan.
You're not getting good dumplings then. You get dumplings from the right place with the dipping sauce, you'll be in love for life.
Joe, who do you recommend? Come on.
No one by you. I don't know where I don't know.
Joe, now are you a steamed dumpling or a fried dumpling?
I can go either way. I prefer the steamed. I'll be honest.
Me. You can tell me, Joe. You're telling me, huh? No, go on.
And you guys have egg rolls. Now, Joe, you moved egg rolls to 3. Now, are you a plain egg rolls or a shrimp egg roll?
I could go either way too.
Again, yeah, either way. But here's the thing. I have had an egg roll in a couple of places where they're not great. But it's like pizza. Even a bad egg roll is okay. I'll still make the most out of it.
You know what they should add to an egg roll? A little slaw. What do you think, Joe?
It is slaw.
Oh, my God.
No, it isn't.
Cabbage is slaw, bro. It's the same type of
exactly
stuff.
Oh, dude, all you're missing in that egg roll is some mayonnaise, and you got coleslaw inside. No kidding.
I'm like surprised. I don't know how to.
Trevor didn't realize how much he likes coleslaw just without the mayo.
And it's got to be fried.
Yeah.
I have no problem with it. Dumplings, I'm not a big fan of it, though. Not a big fan. So here's Ted's. We'll go to Ted's. Hold on. Of course, Ted has golden fingers. That's sweet and sour chicken, Ted.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
Regular golden fingers, bro, like we get all the time in the appetizer.
You get the sauce.
No, that's duck sauce, you dummy.
No, you get that red sauce.
That's duck sauce.
That's not duck sauce.
Yes, it is.
It's like the lighter.
Stop. Even someone from that heritage even told you that you were wrong.
Cool.
I'm not even going to get into it. We're not going to get political.
Apparently, someone who of Asian descent told you you're wrong about the duck sauce. You ding dong. I think is what Teddy's saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm reading here.
Good read, Joe.
Thank you, sir.
Where are you seeing this? Golden Fingers, are you 5 years old?
Did somebody really write that?
Yeah,
Jay, stick to your soul and be quiet.
Dude, not for nothing, Teddy. He's not wrong. That is kind of a kid's food. But no.
Dash him.
Jace, that's not nice to say. Listen.
Yeah, no, guess what? I am 5 years old when I'm eating Chinese. Give me the golden fingers.
Why wouldn't you be?
I get golden fingers, and then I get the chicken broccoli. See, the way me and Trev used to do it when he was around here was I get the chicken broccoli, he got the General Chow's, and then we just split. You get half, I get half.
Yeah.
Golden fingers and house romaine, no vegetables.
Joe, you look like you would be a lo mein guy. I'm surprised I didn't see no lo mein on your list.
No, I'm not a lo mein guy.
I
can see why you'd think that. I definitely got a lo mein face.
Lo mein with no veggies. Well, because you got the shrimp and chicken in it and beef.
No, you can add some veggies, a little green bean, a little string beans in
Nah,
it.
because they're not healthy veggies. So what's the point of having the veggies?
I think you're just hating on the veggies.
Listen, take your crab rangoons and stick them.
I learned something new today that coleslaws and egg rolls.
Yeah.
Cabbage,
dude. I'm telling you, you just put a little Miracle Whip into your egg roll.
Chicken's healthier for you than beef.
No, beef teriyaki is kind of wow. Why do you guys just eat chicken? Because chicken.
We're big chicken guys.
We're chicken.
Not so much. I like beef. If this was a top 10 list, beef teriyaki certainly would have made it.
Yeah, like the teriyaki strips, the beef teriyaki would have went.
Yeah.
Like that.
If I do get Chinese food, what should I get?
Chicken and broccoli, dumplings, and egg roll.
And golden fingers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, next week
appetizer.
we'll be back. We'll be figuring out. It's going to be Ted's job from now on to start picking food topics, our top 5 foods. Next week, like I said, we'll be talking our NFL preview. We just did the AFC on Tuesday. We did the NFC today. Check it out on Facebook. You can check it out on YouTube as well. We'll be back next week. Talk some baseball. It's getting closer and closer to postseason time. We'll have all of that. And like I said, we'll be talking top 5, whatever dishes Ted wants to choose of next week.
We won't be doing that next week. We won't be doing no food dishes next week.
Okay, so food dishes.
Next week will be all football preview. We'll have our predictions. We'll have all our standings. And then we'll be on a little hiatus, but then we'll be back strong with everything.
Well, 6 days away until football. I cannot wait for it. It's almost here, ladies and gentlemen. The boys of full have returned. A great, great slate of college football this week as well. Huge games, national championship implication games. I cannot wait. It's a good time to be a sports fans, ladies and gentlemen. We are Keys to the City. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are out.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.